Chris here again with Naturesre-Creations Aquascape Artist of the Year, and we are starting a new project this week that is going to be a really awesome feature. We've got a berm, a pondless waterfall, a little patio, a bunch of accent boulders, and actually some steps and a flagstone path, a couple of them actually. It is going to be a major transformation, and I can't wait for you guys to see what this looks like. Alright guys, so here it is. This is going to be our biofalls beginning. So we're going to create this nice little berm. This big red bud gives us a nice backdrop. We'll have some outcroppings over there. It's going to be about a 10-foot stream and falls. It's going to come back this way. Our basin will be right about in this area here. And then we're going to be setting a bunch of accent boulders over in this area, as well as a flagstone stepper path. One of these boulders is actually going to act as a seating boulder, so they can sit right next to this nice stream and pondless waterfall, because they're huge birders. If you can see, they've got this really elaborate bird feeding station, I'll call it, that they are constantly watching the birds, feeding the birds. They go on excursions and check out the birds. So they're really into wanting to attract water to their site so that they can have a fresh, clean water source for the birds, and also to attract others for them to view just for their enjoyment. This beginning of the falls, we're going to try to twist and get the beginning biofalls waterfall to be seen from this nice little deck over here, so that they can also hear it and see it, but not only from that big picture window they get to observe the birds feeding, but also when they're sitting out here and being able to enjoy the outdoors. So that is going to be this viewpoint right in this area here. And then we're also going to be putting in a little patio here, about a 9 by 12, I believe, patio that's going to sit adjacent to the basin, so that they're able to sit out here and be out amongst the landscape. They're having a new landscape design come in with all kinds of native plants to really attract, again, more native species of plants, but also the birds, to provide a food source. So amongst these existing plants, we're going to be plopping in a couple of really large accent boulders. Those are really going to set the tone and tie everything together. But off of the berm of the waterfall, which is not going to be very tall, we're only going to be maybe looking at, maybe about 18 to 20 inches, because we don't have a hilly side here, so we don't want to make it look contrived. We're going to have that berm kind of pinch off, and then we're going to also create an additional berm that's going to have a bunch of big accent boulders tied right into it to bring all of the stone that's going to be placed throughout this entire space all together and make it that much more believable. And then in the valley where we have the two berms that kind of meet, we're going to be creating a flagstone stepper path that comes off of this patio, and it's going to walk them right through here to this back section of the landscape. Their property actually ends at the valley here. This is all common ground, but they said that they have a mail carrier and other people that really utilize this pathway pretty routinely, and they didn't want them trampling through any of the plants. So we're just going to put some big, large flagstone steppers going through this landscape to get to the patio, to get to the driveway there, so that they're actually able to pass through the landscape and not do any kind of damage. So that's what we got going on here. Stay tuned. Watch how this thing comes together. It's going to be amazing. So out here, we're actually doing some other stuff out in the front yard. They've got such a tight little street here. It's a single wide, and then they actually have this nice little cut in for additional cars to park when they have guests. But it's kind of a pain to get out of the car, walk around, go all the way up to the driveway, and then to the sidewalk. So what we're going to do here is we're going to set a really massive ledge stone here. That's going to act as a step and a landing, so that when people get out, they open their door, they're able to step onto that big slab, and then they'll have additional steps that'll come up to get them to this existing grade here. There's just a little roll of a slope here. We've got these trees in here. We'll throw a couple big flanking outcroppings on either side. They're actually taking out all of this existing ivy and transforming the entire landscape. But off of this set of steps, we're going to take a big sheets of flagstone again and just zigzag them right through the landscape to take them right to that sidewalk there, so that they've got a nice solid pathway for when guests arrive, that they can get from the little parking pad all the way up to that front door. So what we're doing here is excavating the basin to allow for these aqua blocks in this pondless reservoir. We have to get the bottom completely flat and the sides perfectly straight up and down. We are then filling the hole with these plastic units we call aqua blocks. These will be providing the structural void space to hold the volume of water necessary to operate this entire stream and falls. In order to do that, we need to calculate double the amount of water that's actually in motion of the stream and waterfall to create a balanced system. These units come unassembled in a panel type system and then are put together on site, and each one of them holds approximately 32 gallons of water. So when we put them in, we need to organize them and maneuver them around to allow for space for our pump vault as well. As you can see, we've got our pondless waterfall vault ready to go in. They've got the base excavated down so that when that's sitting in there, that's going to be at our lowest point. And what's going to happen is we're actually going to have a clean out spot, because that will be the lowest. The floor is where this dirt is. That'll allow us to push any sediments from the aqua blocks down into a vault where we can actually clean them out. The pump that runs the waterfall will actually be down in there as well. What we're doing here now is just backfilling up against the excavated pit and the aqua blocks to push all these blocks together. We want to have them as tight and as snug with pressure from all sides. That's what gives these things the support. You can actually drive trucks over these things if they have enough base material over the top of them. That's how well they're designed. They also have extra panels that you can install. But just for a typical pondless, we're using the normal 4x4 system with only 4 inner supports. But this gravel is really crucial for the backfill. We don't like doing a soil or a sand backfill from the outside because that'll wash down and get underneath or settle over time. The gravel always stays put. Plus what it does is gives us extra water volume in the basin and acts as a ballast or a counterweight all the way around the edge. A lot of times if you have hydraulic pressure in an area, these basins will want to float if they're empty and you got a lot of water underneath. This area of gravel, that zone around the edge, acts as that counterbalance and that weight to hold that all in. So that's what we've been doing for many, many years. It works really well. It does require more gravel, but it's well worth it in the long run. Alrighty guys, end of day one. We got a pretty good head start on this thing, but it was a little bit of a logistical nightmare here today. The area is extremely tight to get through the driveway. As you guys could see, it's just every little step we have to think 3 and 4 times ahead, so that we're not really kind of catching ourselves in a spot where we can't get through there. I mean, look how tight these 2 pieces of equipment are just for parking. That's about as tight as it gets. But we've got everything covered up with a tarp, expecting pretty bad storms tonight. So we want to try to prevent that as much as possible. We did get the basin in, so that is ready to go. And everything else is pretty much a go. So we are going to rest up, get back at this first thing in the morning. Hopefully the rain doesn't really mess us up, and we'll see how it does from there, guys. Alrighty, guys, we're back here, day 2 out at the Ladue. Actually, this is technically in Clayton. We are recovering from the storm. Had a heck of a storm last night. It was really pretty powerful, a lot of lightning, and we're looking to have another one this afternoon. So we're just battling through everything, but we've got everything prepped, ready to go to start on this waterfall. I am actually running to grab some topsoil, get all that stuff going. Let me turn you around and show you what we've got here before we start. But this is basically where our basin is and the waterfall is going to drop into. But we've got the startings of the berm. That's what we're going to get, is a bunch more soil, so we can kind of berm this up gradually. And again, that biofalls, we want to have it start right in that area, so that we've got a view from this little deck seating area. So we're going to be focusing that first waterfall right in there. We got our big, awesome seating boulder put in. Going to have some more flagstone that we're going to put in today to get them right to be able to sit on this and sit right here and enjoy that waterfall. You can see some birds are already trying to scavenge for some worms after that rain. Luckily we tarped this because it would have been a swamp here. So that's the progress we've got now. It's going to develop quickly, so stay tuned, watch this thing come together. Here we've got the beginnings of our berm starting to shape up, getting a little bit of height to it. We're gonna have to pile up a bunch of the soil that we brought in today because that storm's coming in a little sooner than we'd hoped. So we're hoping not to run into problems with that, but we're coming along, getting moving. Basin's done. We got our overflow in. We got our pipe underneath the sidewalk for our pump cord. Get ready to be starting to set stone. All right, guys, day 3. We had a midday storm yesterday that really caught us off guard. Unfortunately, there's some of the remnants of Mother Nature's wrath. But what we've got here is berm still kind of coming together. We're really going to hammer today and try to make some progress. Looks like another possible washout tomorrow, but I've got a big stone that's going to go right here. That's going to be a really cool waterfall stone, we're hoping, because it is going to essentially create a ramp for the birds to come into. So I really want that water just kind of wash up on that side and then swirl around it and give us that sloped 45 angle that we really want for the bird access. So that's what we've got right now. Let's see what we can do to make this come together. All right, guys, we are ready to set that first stone. That is such a crucial piece in the system because that sets the tone for everything that comes afterwards. So we're really wanting to make sure that we get this guy in right, because all the other stones are going to play off of that guy right there. This one here is designed to be a waterfall stone as well as a soft entry point for the birds. So this is going to be our face. We really want water rushing just right over this corner and then falling off this. We'll block this side off here with another stone, maybe another waterfall stone that's equal to this height or maybe a little bit taller, because what we want is we want the birds to be able to kind of bounce down here, drink this water, have the pollinators light on this, and create a real shallow area for the birds to access that. So that's the idea, what we're doing, try to set this guy in place. So we've got our final waterfall that's coming into this basin here. We're gonna have water spilling around, a little waterfall right in between these two, and we're gonna kind of swoop it out and around. It's gonna hit this one, fall and roll off, and then hit this one. We really wanna have just shallow, slow moving water for those birds to get into. And then this is a big boulder that's gonna act as a landing pad for those birds to come in and observe what's going on, kind of check it out. They want to be able to hang close by but not jump right in until they see what's going on. Over there, that's where the biofalls is getting ready to get set. We've got our outcroppings, berms really coming together. That's going to all get backfilled and outcropped over there so that we can bring this up. And then that patio is coming in right over there. We got most of this basin filled in now. We've left this hole open so we can run our pipe right through to our pondless vault box. We'll cut that pipe out through there, bulkhead through the liner, run that pipe right up to the back of our biofalls. And then we've got a waterfall stone hanging right here that's going to go right back here. We just had the technician cut that section of fabric out because that will not seal well to the stone or the liner if we have fabric in between there. So we're going to leave that just bare liner, get a good seal on that so we can push water over that, because if not, what happens is the water, even though you try to seal it right here with your waterfall foam, you get water pushing underneath and it just seeps underneath and you lose the water that's supposed to be going over the top going underneath, and you don't have a waterfall there. So you'll lose a lot of force of the pump that you want to be seeing going over that stone. So that's the reason we're doing that right there. Same thing here. We've got a problem that these framing stones that are actually the waterfalls are sitting on top of the basin. If you see that aqua block panel right there, that's completely porous. There's no way that we can get a good seal here. So we're going to bib an extra piece of liner right over this section here and lap it right up the back, seal it to this really good and tight. Then we can backfill this with gravel and get that whole area sealed up so that we'll be able to push that water right over that stone and not lose it going underneath. Alright guys, here we are into day 3. Starting to make some progress. We've got seating boulder, flagstone steppers to land there. We've got a good majority of this waterfall actually done. We're just looking for some details. We've got to do some sealing and set some accent stones in there. Waterfall stones for the basin are in. The basin is in and ready. We got the pipe in. Now we've marked out where this patio is going. We're going to try to get the client out here. They're leaving tomorrow until the next following Wednesday, which is actually kind of a cool thing because they're going to come back and see a ton of progress. Things are going to look so much different when they get here. So I'm going to go grab them right now and see what they think about the shape of that patio. In the design, you guys haven't seen yet, but we've got a big seating. Actually, it's just an accent boulder there, but they want something that's got a flat top to it so that they can utilize it for extra serving space as a table. And then off of that is where we're going to have, we've kind of got a little depression drawn out here in the yard. That's where that flagstone stepper path is. And then right on the front of the excavator is where that berm's going to start. So we've got some big boulders staged back there. We got most of this berm done. We're going to close this up tomorrow, and well, hopefully if it doesn't rain, try to put some accent retention stones back on the back side here, because if you look, this whole property really drops off down to a swale here. This is all common ground, and we're only dealing with their property, which is right on that fence line. So it comes right through here. So we're really trying to keep everything contained, but make it look like this hill actually exists. So the idea is the undulation with the berm, having some height back here. This is not a very major buildup from the front side. It looks very subtle. From the back, it's a little bit bigger because we've got this big drop off, but we're going to add some accent outcropping boulders there to retain that. I've got a big, nice one planned for right here so that we can drop this down and then have you walking right by that with this flagstone path. So this will all be a nice flat plateau, get all planted up when we're done, and we'll have that berm established, and then we'll set those accents in over there. So hoping to really have good progress by early to mid next week on this one, guys. Should look great. Tune in here and watch how this progresses.